He is Mr. Eurovision, Christer Björkman.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, how are you holding up?
I'm fine. You know, last I saw you, it was on TV.
Oh, that's so funny. Last I saw you was on TV.
Same show.
SBS Australia Eurovision Top 40.
Yes, that was it.
Your song is on the list, isn't it?
It was actually, in the end, it was 45th. Close, but no cigar.
We both should have kept voting. Next time.
Next time.
It's a good one. It's aged well, just like you. Now listen, you are the content producer of this show. What's been the highlight of it?
When it comes to the contest, I would say it's actually the connection between the acts and the stage. I mean, the stage is amazing, and I think that all acts have come out really, really, really stunning, and it works so well, even with the ones that can be tricky sometimes. You know, the ones that have their own environment with them, like Azerbaijan, for example.
Yeah.
But it really, really blends together when you open up those walls and see the full stage behind it. It's as if they were made for each other, and this is not all the time the case. And this stage just does that with all of them. It's really, really, really amazing.
And was there an act that was particularly difficult for you to execute or make come to life?
No, I wouldn't say it. Yes, in a way. I actually had to struggle a bit to get Australia really, really nice. The first rehearsal, we couldn't really find the elements to nail it. And then we sat down in the evening and we talked about it a lot. And then in the end, we found a solution to it, and I called the head of delegation and also their creative director, Sasha Jean-Baptiste, and spoke to them and said, we have an idea, and we would like to try it for the second rehearsal. And we did it, and it really, really worked well. So now we are good.
And can you give our readers just a bit of insight into how long you've been working on this and how much work goes into planning these acts?
I mean, you know that the selection process starts like early in the year, and then gradually more and more songs come in. And it's actually not till the head of delegation meeting in the middle of March when we actually get all the information that we need. That's when we have the final tracks. We have, you know, the vision from each country, what they want to do, and they send us references of pictures and colors and patterns and words, you know, like what do they want to show on that stage. And then we interpret that, and we pass it on to all our directors and our lighting designer and scenographers. So we meet for a couple of days and we go through every act. And the production bit in it for me is actually to keep them apart, you know, to give them their own identity.
Okay.
As you know, for example, in the first semi, there are 8 ballads. And you have to be very, very careful so that they don't sort of look alike. You have to give them their own sort of temperament, color, its own space. Right. You know, they have to stick out in the running order, so each and every one gets to shine for 3 minutes.
What types of words do people write down? Is it as basic as love, loss?
Definitely, yes. It can be anything, and it's like fashion almost. You know, there are trends in what they want, and this year has been white. Yeah. Is one, and water is another, and elements. I would say those are the 3 most common words this year. So when you read for the 10th time, water, you're like, okay, now we have to talk to them. Maybe we should go in another direction, because you know you can't really do 10 water songs.
No, a little too wet. Yes,
a little too wet.
And we of course are here in Ukraine, New Europe, Eastern Europe. I'm just curious, because you've been following Eurovision for so long. When the Soviet Union collapsed and there was this new flood of countries, what do you think the greatest contribution was, or how did they change the contest?
Color, spice. Extravaganza, temperament. I mean, all that is not Scandinavian.
Ah.
You know, I mean, we are always so sort of cold, cool, but it's
right.
Yeah.
Borderlines on steroids.
Yes, exactly, and minimalistic, blah blah blah, and they just go for it, and it's fantastic. I mean, I remember like early 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, we were like, what's going on? What is this? What's happening? What's wrong with us? What are we doing wrong? And you sort of realize that, you have to go for it. You have to feel. You have to do the real thing. You can't be too tactical. You just have to be emotional about it. And so I think we learned a lot, really.
And is there one act you would single out from this region in recent years that kind of encapsulates that idea?
There are quite a few, I would say. Let's say Armenia, Inga and Anush, for example, is one. Verka,
yes.
Serdushka, Ruslana, Sertab. I mean, they're so spicy, and hot, and it's steaming, and it's everything, and it's just lovely. And the Eurovision should be that. And if you look at this year's tagline, diversity. I mean, the more diversity we have in this competition, the better it is.
And the absence of Russia, do you think that has an impact on the contest this year?
In the long run, no. I mean, there have been incidents like this before,
right,
where one country don't come because of a reason or another, and in the long run, it doesn't, because in a year they will be back, hopefully. The only impact it has is really for the artist, I would say, and I feel really sad for any artist who has a dream to do something and can't fulfill it, and that's really sad.
And in terms of the target audience of Eurovision, do you think it's changed in recent years? Is it still a family show?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. I mean, I know for Melodifestivalen in Sweden, it definitely is. It's a family thing. It's a family thing. It's a friends thing. Friends gather together. So it's a social event, more or less. In the rest of Europe, I really don't know. I don't think they made any surveys about it.
Okay.
Maybe we should, to know. But it's a lot of people watching it, so there probably is a target group, and you could probably define it quite easily if you put an effort to it.
And in Sweden, of course, you had Justin Timberlake as an interval act going global. Was there some strategy behind that about making the contest more international?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a coincidence that we could do that. I mean, it's a lot of luck, I would say. That it happened to be that song was to be released at that particular moment, and that somebody who was thinking very clearly on their side said, "Hey, that's not a bad idea," and you can't really do it over and over again. It was like, wow, it was fantastic once. But then, to us, we had already done the competition 3 years earlier. So we felt that we didn't have anything to prove, from a Swedish point of view. So we could easily, give up a spot to an American star. But you know what I mean? We don't really have to present our country again after 3 years and explain who we are. Whereas this year, I would say that I mean that's the way I feel as the show producer for this show, that we want to portray Ukraine to Europe. We want to show traditional Ukraine, but also, but meet modern Ukraine as well, because this is a very, very progressive country in development, and we want to show that and find the correct balance in that to not teach, but to enlighten those who don't know what Ukraine is. And my hope when we're done with these 3 shows, we have given a balanced and really, really nice perception to the rest of Europe, of Ukraine.
Do you think Eurovision means more to Ukraine than other countries?
I think that that Eurovision means more to every host country. That's what I think, because during that year when you are the host, you really, really feel that you're in the center of the attention, and you can actually use it to sort of sell yourself,
Right.
and the picture of yourself. And that we will try to do here as well.
You're so calm and collected. I'm just curious, in the viewing room, when the countries see their acts for the first time after rehearsals, is it always cool and calm, or?
No, absolutely not. No. That's where we show how different we are. Actually, in different parts of Europe, some are very, very strong-minded and they're very loud, and some are basically just angry by nature. I think that's a starting point.
Right.
And then you have all kinds, but you can definitely tell when a specific country comes in, and when they leave, you're like, oh yeah, that was. And then you say the name of the country, and they're very typical to what you think they would be.
Okay. Do you have the final say, or do they?
I do have the final say, but my intention of being the contest producer is to come as close to their vision as we possibly can, without losing the perspective of the show. Meaning, I would not allow 8 acts to be watery.
Okay.
Right. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that is not good TV.
It's a flood.
It's a flood, and we can have that, can we?
Absolutely not. We've already got 12 bridesmaids this year.
So, but apart from that, I really try to meet them as far as we can. But then sometimes they just have a bad idea, and it looks ugly, and then you just have to talk to them and say, seriously.
Right.
This has to look good.
I guess you can't tell us who, can you?
No, but you can figure it out, I think, because some things on stage sometimes don't look that good, and then in the end you will see that it has been changed, and then you can figure it out.
Yes. And
homework.
Yeah, I'm going to go right now. Is there an act you're particularly proud of, not because of what they've done per se, but you've made this vision come to life and it was just, you didn't think it could happen?
Yeah, but I'm always, first of all, I'm always pleased when the country's pleased.
Okay.
That's the major thing. Every Eurovision is like, we always have one guy behind the stage meeting the people when they get off, saying, did everything feel well on stage? Are you satisfied? Are you pleased? That's a yes, and then we do a check on that. Then we go to the viewing room and we talk to the head of delegation and say, are you pleased with the act, everything that you saw on the screen? And when we get a check on that, then everything is fine. Then we've achieved what we wanted. We want everyone to be proud of what they're doing. Okay, so for the rest, they're going to live with this for the rest of their lives.
Right.
These 3 minutes. So it's very important. Because then you also know that you need that check before the results come in. Because after the results come in, then it starts changing.
Oh, dear.
And then everybody starts looking for excuses. Why didn't we get points? And then it's a very good thing to have had that check.
Goodness me. You have to be so diplomatic.
I know. Aren't I now?
Yeah, you're doing very well. He is Mr. Melodifestivalen, Mr. Eurovision, Christer Björkman. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have to give you a hug because we admire your work so much, honestly.